name is Ana Armenta, and I am the Arizona Racing Commission Secretary for today. Today is February 9th, 2023, the 708th Arizona Racing Commission meeting taking place via Google Meet, and I will do the roll call. Chair Coolidge.
Present.
Vice Chair Olson.
Present.
Commissioner French Contreras.
Here.
Commissioner York.
Present.
Thank you. We have a quorum. It is 10:01 a.m. and the floor is yours, Chair Coolidge.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll go ahead and call to order the 708th Arizona Racing Commission meeting of Thursday, February 9th to 2023. Moving to action items, B1, which is our 60-mile review. Just as a quick reminder, I know we have a handful of people that are scheduled to speak. I will be giving 3 minutes to each of the people who have asked to speak. Please remember that some of the commissioners have heard this multiple times. Some of the commissioners have heard it once. We don't need to have a full formal, legal debate as we've gone through many times. We've had a couple of commissioners ask about a Attorney General review, which we have communicated on that front. And if needed, we can go into executive session to have more conversations there, and we'll open it up to the floor there. So please, as a quick reminder, we've heard it, we get it. If there is anything new that you need to bring to the table, I will go ahead and do it that way. But if I don't have any conflicts or any questions from my commissioners, we'll go right into the people who have calendared to speak.
I'm good.
Okay. I'm just going to go by what I was given by the department. Mr. Langhofer, 3 minutes, sir. Okay. Mr. Author.
Okay, this is Dave Author. Don't know what happened to Mr. Langhofer, but I can appreciate the chairman's sort of admonition that you don't need to hear the entire story all over again. There's a few facts, though, I think that we should explain. Number one, if the 60-mile rule is applied, then Arizona Downs won't have any OTBs in Maricopa County, which is the only county in the state that has enough people in it to support any kind of an OTB system. The way that racetracks make money is through the OTB. It's the only way that they make money is through the OTB and a little bit from the live meet. So essentially, if the 60-mile rule is applied, then you're putting Arizona Downs out of business. Secondly, based upon the information we received from and the arguments we've heard for years, literally years, the purpose of the 60-mile rule when enacted back in the 70s was to protect the live racing meet of the horse track. And you didn't want, in those days when OTBs were as rare could be, you didn't want an OTB right next to a track that was taking away from people who are on their way to go watch the races and would stop at the OTB and not go in. With that in mind, you should know that Turf Paradise has 28 OTBs of its own within 60 miles of the track. And every one of those OTBs is potentially drawing people away from attending Turf Paradise's live meet. We also know that Turf Paradise is not particularly taking care of its live meet attendance. They don't have a restaurant. They don't have the place fixed up. And as far as they're concerned, they just soon have nobody show up at the live meet, save the money, and make all their money on OTBs, which is fine with us. That's the way the business is now. It's not the way the business was back in the 70s when it was passed. Thirdly, the Racing Commission, the primary case from the Court of Appeals said that Turf Paradise does not have a private right to enforce the 60-mile rule. The only ones that can do it if they think it is necessary is the Racing Commission. So you'd have to really make a finding that it's better for Arizona horse racing to put Arizona Downs out of business that, by eliminating all of our local OTBs. And that would be the vote of the commission. We don't want Arizona Downs to exist. That makes no sense. We all know that the only way that this makes sense to have two tracks.
Mr. Author, I'm going to give you the ability to take the other, where's my other one? The other authors. You want another minute to wrap up?
Sure. But because I'm 67 years old, I forgot what I was going to say. But I think it's interesting. You've got the IHIA people now that are people are fighting the federal enforcement of IHIA, but really, but of course they're not going to fight the enforcement of the IHA, which really is for you folks is a choice that you need to make. Do we have a 60-mile rule or we don't have a 60-mile rule? And once again, for Chairman Coolidge, you would know better than I. This may be the 7th time that we've argued this, and each and every time the decision was made by the commission not to do it. And just because we have some new commissioners, and apparently they've got a new lawyer at Turf Paradise, they're bringing it up again. It's nuts. So we request that you don't enforce it once again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And just as a reminder for everyone on the call, this is not being re-brought up for review. This is a follow-up from a previous agenda action item of, let's call it 2 meetings ago, just as a review and possible executive session. Mr. Imbornoni, floor is yours, sir.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. This is Brian Imbornoni representing Turf Paradise. We are requesting enforcement of the 60-mile rule. This came before the Commission in November, but was tabled pending advice of counsel. So here we are back at the starting gate. We have been through this before, so I'll be brief. The issue is whether the Commission will follow the law. ARS 5112B requires compliance with the Interstate Horse Racing Act. Section 3004B of the Act precludes an OTB from accepting wagers on interstate simulcasts without the consent of currently operating 60-mile tracks. The statute uses the mandatory term shall obtain approval. Under the law, compliance is not discretionary or optional. Excuse me, this is not some arcane or obscure statutory provision. The IHA is only 6 pages long and half of that is definitions. The 60-mile rule is one of the core statutory requirements of the IHA. The policy of the law is to protect live racing, and this is not a mere recital. This is economic reality. It is incredibly expensive to host a live racing meet, and if IHIA survives, it will cost millions more per year. It is not fair for a competitor to open OTBs in the same market and accept bets without sharing any of the expense of putting on the show. It siphons the revenue absolutely needed to run the meet. The revenue received through Turf Paradise's own OTBs serve that purpose of paying the critical expense of running the meet. Our friends at Arizona Downs want to debate the policy of the rule, but that's an issue decided by Congress. Congress is in the business of drawing lines. It drew the line at 60 miles and made compliance with the rule mandatory. Arizona Downs argues that they need the money from OTBs. That just means they're undercapitalized. There's no excuse for not following the law. The law does not require Turf Paradise to subsidize Arizona Downs by allowing competing OTBs to take bets within the 60-mile radius while the track is currently operating. Arizona Downs will not be required to close any OTBs. It will only restrict hours of operation on the days and the specific hours that Turf Paradise is currently operating. The statute does not leave any wiggle room. With respect, we request the commission, after consulting with counsel, to clarify that the 60-mile rule is controlling federal law and should be enforced by the director. Thank you.
Appreciate it, sir. Any questions or comments from my commissioners or requests to go into executive session?
Are these the only two speaking? I was muted. My apologies. I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for advice of counsel on this matter. I second that motion.
And Commissioner York, we did have Mr. Langhoffer was scheduled. I'm not sure if he made it, and then both authors had
Okay.
it, and I rolled the time to
Gotcha.
1.
Okay.
And we do have a motion in a second. Sorry, Commissioner York, I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else that still wants to speak on this matter?
Commissioner Contreras, we do have a motion and a second for executive session.
All right.
Thank you. With a motion by, I believe it was Commissioner
French
Yes.
Contreras.
French Contreras and a
Yes.
second by Commissioner York. I will do the roll call. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York,
Yes.
with a total of 4 yeses. Thank you. That motion passes. We will move into executive session.
Madam Secretary, at your convenience.
Thank you. Looks like everyone is back. I will take the roll call. Chair Coolidge,
Present.
Vice Chair Olson,
Present.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Here.
Commissioner York.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum. It is 10:35 a.m. and the floor is yours, Chair.
Thank you. Just as a quick reminder, we're on action item B1, the 60-mile review. I'll open it up to my commissioners before I make comment. Hearing none. Groundhog's Day. We've had this conversation a few times before, at least in my opinion. We are talking about 5 locations, and God only knows how much time that we've spent on these 5 locations. But rest assured, next time we hear a OTB, or excuse me, next time I hear of an OTB, we will be diving into this quite heavily and the location of that OTB moving forward. But at this point, I'm not really ready to go and turn everything off as we've done before. But again, any comments or questions from my fellow commissioners, I'm ready to hear them. If you have a motion, I'm ready to hear that. Otherwise, I'm ready to move on.
Chairman, this is Candace French Contreras. I just want to reiterate as well. At this point, I am not ready to do any enforcement upon advice of counsel. I believe that's a discretionary action, and I think a lot more damage is going to be done by enforcing a 60-mile rule, which is questionable at best, and I have no desire to visit this matter any longer.
If I may, I would also like to add, Chair Coolidge, that a decision was made, everyone knows, in 2018 and in 2021. And based on my research, analysis, and understanding of council's advice, my position is that this is not an open issue and the previous decision should stand.
I think all the commissioners have been very well spoken and just echo their comments.
Thank you very much. We'll move to action item B2, the request for American Greyhound Racing 3-year permit renewal for calendar years 2023, 2024, and 2025. Have a couple of people scheduled to speak on this. Looks like Mr. Fleming. Mr. Guzman.
Good morning, Chairman Coolidge, members of the commission. My name is Fred Guzman. I am the Regional General Manager speaking on behalf of American Greyhound Racing. Thank you for this opportunity to speak on our permit application. We acknowledge the application process is extensive, and I'd like to extend our gratitude to the Department of Racing, Director Casillas, and Enforcement Manager Mr. Duncan on their quick actions during this review process. We look forward to continuing to operate the business much like we have since 1979. I am happy to answer any questions that you may have, and thank you for your consideration.
Appreciate it, sir. Excited to have this conversation. Mr. Gorey, you've signed up to speak as well.
Yes, thank you, Chairman Coolidge and Commissioners. As someone who has been a leader of Greyhound welfare and advocacy in the United States and now going globally, I can state for the record that American Greyhound Racing and its parent company, Delaware North, have been the greatest organizations to work with when it comes to the advocacy of the welfare of not only the racing Greyhound, but the ex-racing Greyhound going into adoption. And they are well worth renewing the permit. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Also like to ask Mr. Duncan or Director Casillas for any of your thoughts.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. This is Juan Estrada. I'm going to speak on behalf of the report. First of all, I want to thank Mr. Feinberg for facilitating and working with us on making sure that all the paperwork got through as requested. With that said, we did not discover any information within historical or current applications or any supportive documents that rose to any level of concern. With that said, I would recommend that the commission approve American Greyhound's permit.
Thank you, Mr. Estrada. Open it up to the floor for any of my commissioners.
Just thank you to the department and the American Greyhound Racing for the extensive information. We appreciate all your hard work on that.
Couldn't agree more. No, there's a lot that goes to it. Mr. Guzman, appreciate your comments. Otherwise, I will move that we approve the American Greyhound Racing 3-year permit renewal for 23, 24, and 25 calendar years.
Second.
Madam Secretary.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner York. I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
You're muted, ma'am.
Yes.
Commissioner York,
Yes.
with a total of 4 yeses. Thank you. That motion passes.
Drop down to B3, which is the Turf Paradise Management Information Report. Just as a reminder, this is an action item, but not something that we will likely be voting on. This was a request by a commissioner to have president. Mr. Johnson or Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Chairman Coolidge. A correction to the record, if I may, before proceeding with the item at hand. Turf Paradise does have restaurant service, both in the club and the grandstand. And in fact, we have a full-time food and beverage staff. To the matter at hand, I thought it might be helpful, if it pleased the chair and the commission, if you have questions or concerns, to ask them, and I will do my best to answer them, rather than me make a presentation and your questions and concerns get lost, if it please the commission.
Appreciate that, Mr. Mayor. Commissioner?
I would like to understand what the status is on all 11.
On number 11?
All of them. All
All-
11 items. The status. Is it complete, work in progress?
Mhm.
What is the status?
Understood, Commissioner. Let's go through them one by one. Number 1, the cleaning of a K-row, that is completed. Number 2, the post at the 5 furlong gap, completed. The outside rail of the main track has areas that are 24 to 30 inches high. That was corrected during the track renovation of January 19th to 22nd and is now in conformance with the proper height all the way around the outside rail. Question 4, the 5 furlong gap and the bridle path. The gap itself has been a bit challenging because it's so hard. We have made some progress there. The bridle path we tend to daily is completed in the area of the where the bridle path curves around the track. Where we're having challenges is on the straightaway of the bridle path, because that also allows access of vehicles, and the vehicles go on that part of the roadway, which is reserved for the horses. So we're coming up with another solution to address that so that the bridle path continues as it did before. 5, that has to do with the paving. The pavers were in 2 days ago. I haven't been back to the backside to see the work that they've done. I assume it is, they always do good work. If there's more to be done, We will tend to that. Number 6, the restrooms in Cairo, they have the hot water heaters are back up and running. The restrooms in the grandstand and the clubhouse, the protocol we follow is I go through them weekly. There are 12 restrooms in the grandstand and clubhouse. I myself go through them weekly. The rooms are tended to daily by the company that we hire to do that. And and I've been in all of them. There is no scent in any of them. All of the urinals are operational. All of the toilet stalls have doors. The machine which dries the hands they all work. There's soap in all the soap dispensers. We do have a problem, and we haven't figured out how to solve it, is from time to time, in fact, just like last week, we had weekly vandalism. That is someone in the men's clubhouse restroom vandalized 2 sinks and a toilet. Law prohibits us from installing surveillance cameras. So we're trying to find other ways to address that situation. But in terms of daily maintenance and cleanliness, that does take place with our cleaning service. And I inspect all the restrooms once a week. Number 8 is the speaker in the HPPA office that has been fixed. A breaker went out. Again, the number 9 has to do with the rail, the lowering of the rail. The outside rail is now in conformance all the way around the racetrack. The bridle path is the bridle path that we are able to harrow is on a daily schedule. The paddock farrier, that's the one, number 11, is a work in progress. We do not have a blacksmith on call, and I believe this refers specifically to the turf races. What is allowed on the horse's hooves for turf racing is what's called a queen plate or a queen's plate XT. Shoes with toe grabs are not permitted. I did have a preliminary discussion with Mr. Leroy Gassman, the executive director of the Arizona HPPA, and that is that we would have a random check by a blacksmith on the horses that are headed for the turf, or races are scheduled for the turf. And if a horse is found to have toe grabs, what they call toe grabs, the horse would be given the opportunity to change its shoes, but because of the delay and possible scratch, the horseman would be fined $500 for each shoe that's in violation. So the short answer, number 11, is a work in progress, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Francie. I'm sure everyone appreciates this update.
You're certainly welcome, Commissioner.
Commissioner Contreras?
Yeah, Mayor Francia, do the horses that run on turf also run on the dirt track? Will it be the same horses?
Some horses run on both surfaces. Some horses are bred for the turf. That is, their father and their mother were turf horses, and that's the surface they excel on. So they are kept to running on the grass races. We host approximately 2 grass races a day among the 8 race program that we offer. It's a discretion of the trainer, but some horses will run on both surfaces.
And is it whose discretion or whose decision is it of the type of shoes that are worn on these horses for each surface?
Well, let me address the turf course. the turf course is very specific, a Queen's Plate or Queen's Plate XT. And that particular shoe is very flat. It has no toe grabs.
Right.
And part of the reason we prohibit that shoe is because the toe grab has a tendency to dig up the turf, leaving divots, where the Queen's Plate does not.
Well, not as much, I would surmise. I mean, they're all going to it a little bit. So you want, if a horse is changing turf, you want them to pull the nails, pull these shoes, add new holes, reshoe these horses, and then if they switch turf, go back to a different shoe again.
Well, if the horse is in the paddock preparing for a race and the blacksmith finds that he's wearing a toe grab, yes, but my suggestion is that if that is the case, the horse will probably be scratched, that the horseman be fined $500 for each shoe that's in violation. To give you an example, approximately 4 days ago, we had a horse that lost the shoe.
Mm-hmm.
When he came to the paddock. It was okay. The trainer signed off that he would race the horse with 3 shoes. The stewards signed off on it, but the track veterinarian was not in favor of it, and the horse had to be scratched.
Can horses run barefoot? Race horses?
Yeah, they can. It's rare. When I was back east, there was a trainer. When I was working at a racetrack in Pennsylvania, a trainer would ship up from Maryland, Dr. Fisher, and he raced his horses without shoes. Rare. It's very rare.
Okay. And
But
can
yeah,
you run in the dirt without toe grabs?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
But again, very, very rare.
Sure. All right. Just another comment, a little relative to your need to clarify. Let me just remind all the parties, please. We spend a lot of time listening to defenses against accusations, and like Mayor Fancy has had to do today, and it doesn't get us anywhere. And I really am not interested in hearing that anymore. If you have something to say about an item, that's great, but let's do it without lowering ourselves to accusing the other side of doing or not doing something. It doesn't help our situation. So with that said, I'm done.
I would like to assure the commission that we do have a system in place, and it works very well. Part of it has to do with when I have time, and I try to make time to get to the backside if I see something. I'll
Sure.
staff, it'll be taken care of. But the other system that works, Mr. Gessman and I are in contact daily. And he may mention something to me on the phone, or I will receive an email from him. The next,
Right.
the progress is I notify the appropriate staff member of what needs to be addressed, get a timeline on it so I can reply to Mr. Gessman, and we get things taken care of.
And I appreciate all your due diligence. I really do. And I apologize on behalf of everyone that you even felt that you had to defend yourself on the food and beverage accusation today. And let's hope that just doesn't continue.
Well, at the commission's convenience, I invite you to the clubhouse for lunch.
Thank you.
You bet, Commissioner. Is there anything else, Chairman Coolidge or commissioners? Okay, thank you.
Nothing else, Mayor, appreciate it.
You bet, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we'll drop down to action item B4, the simulcast agreements pursuant to ARS 5-112U. Looks like Arizona Downs. I know that Mr. Duncan has established those in our packets for any issues with those. Mr. Duncan, any updates there?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There is no changes. All the 5112 contracts for B4, A1 through 6 are complete.
I follow.
I'm sorry, what was that? Commissioner, did I miss something on your end?
No, I'm just having some trouble with my computer. It's fine.
Got it. And Mr. Duncan, I caught about one of every third word that you just brought up.
Okay, can you hear me, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there are no changes. The division would recommend approval for items B4A1 through 6.
All right. Any comments? Otherwise, I'll move that we approve simulcast agreement ARS 5-112U for Arizona Downs, item A 1 through 6.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner York. I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York,
Yes.
with a total of 4 yeses. Thank you. That motion passes.
Thank you. We'll drop down to item B, 4B, Turf Paradise 1 through 4. Mr. Duncan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, there are no changes. The division would recommend the 5112U contracts be approved for items B4B 1 through 4.
Any questions or comments from my commissioners?
No, thank you.
Otherwise, I'll move that we approve Turf Paradise's 4B 1 through 4.
I'll second.
Thank you. With the motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner French Contreras, I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York,
Yes.
with a total of 4 yeses. Thank you. That motion passes.
Thanks. We'll drop down to action item 5A, the simulcast horse racing import signals pursuant to IHA section 3004A3 for Arizona Downs. Looks like 1 through 6. As we're seeing here now with the 3004, looks like we're still waiting on documents 3 through 6. Is that right, Mr. Duncan?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, that is correct.
Any other items that are not in our booklets?
No, 1 and 2 is complete, and 3 and 6, we're still waiting on documentation.
Thank you, sir. Questions or comments from my commissioners? Otherwise, I'll move that we approve Arizona Downs, Rito Park, and Will Rogers Downs.
I'll second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by French Contreras. I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York,
Yes.
with a total of 4. Thank you. That motion passes.
I'll also move that we conditionally approve Arizona Downs 3 through 6, pending they submit the required documentation to the department and leave it to the department for final approval so they don't see a delay in approvals.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner York. I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York,
Yes.
with a total of 4. Thank you. That motion passes with the conditional approval.
Dropping down to 5B for Turf Paradise, I'll move that we approve Will Rogers Downs.
Second.
Thank you. With the motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner York, I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York.
Yes.
With a total of 4, thank you, that passes. That motion passes.
Mr. Duncan, any additional documents after our packet was sent for 2 through 4?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman, 2 through 4, no additional items were sent in.
Thank you, sir. I'll move that we conditionally approve Turf Paradise's 2 through 4 requisite that they submit the required documentation to the department and leave it to the department for final review and approval so they don't see delay.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Chair Coolidge and a second by Commissioner York. I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York.
Yes.
With a total of 4, thank you. That motion passes with conditional approval.
Mr. Johnson, I just wanted to pop up. Did I jump ahead of you on that, or do you have something you need to add?
Chairman, Commissioners, I did want to just bring a point of fact to everybody's attention. All of these requests, except for Dubai, are racetracks that are in the United States, and therefore they do fall under the Interstate Horse Racing Act. But the Dubai race does not fall under the Interstate Horse Racing Act. We provided the approval from the Arizona HPPA, but because it is a signal that is brought in from a foreign country outside of the United States, it doesn't fall subject to the Interstate Horse Racing Act. There are no approvals that you're going to receive for this, or at least I'm assuming we probably will not. If we do, it'll be very last minute, and it will just be lucky to get it if we even get anything. So I would just ask the commission to consider that. Again, Dubai World Cup is not a race that is run in the United States. It falls outside the United States, and it should not be considered under the Interstate Horse Racing Act.
Appreciate that. You bringing that to our attention, Mr. Johnson. Director Casillas, would you mind doing some diligence for the commission and reporting back to us as far as any IHA requirements or restrictions on that?
I certainly will, sir.
Thank you. All right, we're drop down to action item C1 under track information reports. This is the track safety report. Dr. Gale, are you available?
Yes, thank you, Chair Coolidge, Commissioners. Good morning. Just a brief summary on fatality rates, just to give an update on that. The 12-month rolling average for February of 2022 through January of 23 for all Arizona tracks is 2.27. That's a reduction from 2.67 the month before, and is reflective of fewer fatalities in racing at Turf Paradise. Currently, for the past year, the Turf Paradise rate per thousand is 1.76. And for the current meet, November, December, January, the rate is 1.43 fatalities per thousand starts. So that's a great deal of improvement. And we've had 2 weeks of the track renovation. And I guess the jury's still out on what changes we might see on that. Again, for the first couple months of the meet, the track was deep and soft. And a number of folks did report soft tissue injuries. And then now the track surface is, I believe, more shallow. And the times have certainly been fast, reflecting a shorter cushion. And we did see 2 incidents on the 28th of January on the track, and but those are included in these figures, so it's still better than had been over the past year. I've received generally positive comments, asking around different trainers on the track surface. Let's see here. The main concern going forward with the risk to horses is that now that we're halfway through the meet, we're starting to see some horses run frequently, maybe on 8 to 14 days rest. That is a risk factor for injury. Both the cumulative number of racing furlongs as well as the time to recover between races. There's no rule regarding days off between races. Those horses are red flagged on the pre-race exams to take a good look at them, make sure they're not showing any soreness before the race. We did have Dr. Holland, who spoke last time about a program with the veterinary schools to try and get some more help and also offer educational opportunities to the veterinary students on pre-race exams and lameness evaluations. And she has agreed to coordinate that program, and hopefully we'll have more to report on that in the next meeting. We hope to get that enacted. Rio Ito did have a successful safe opening weekend, so that's good. And the one, I know that they spoke last time about the Stride Safe monitoring system, and it'll be necessary. We're having a meeting between myself, Brian Duncan, and the management and stewards down at Rio Ito to discuss this program a bit further. And how it's going to be used. Is it something that's just to see how the sensor works? There was a comment in one of the articles that appeared about using these sensors to put horses on veterinary lists. So we need to kind of clarify some of those directions and purposes of the program. That's what I have, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Commissioner York.
Thank you, Dr. Gill, for that report, and that's all really good news. Just one quick question on the Safe Stride. So they haven't implemented it yet?
They did use the sensors last week, and they did have 3 or 4 horses that showed up with what they call the red light, which suggested perhaps a problem, and so those trainers were contacted and suggested that maybe they get their horse looked at, which again, I think that sort of informational, providing that sort of information is helpful. And again, it's just the concern is whether or not that might discourage some folks from running at Rio Ito if their horse is going to get flagged and perhaps put on the vet list based on kind of a new mechanism.
So if I could just ask a logistics question about this. I know that Retail Park has decided to do this. They're kind of what I would call a beta test for this. Are you leading the charge in terms of, would you be the point person for information, or should we look to Retail Park to be that person that's going to report on just what you touched and then maybe go a little deeper?
I think that, again, we're going to have a meeting to discuss some of the details of this program. Perhaps not everything was clear at the beginning of the meet here on how the sensor was going to be used, what was going to be done with the information, that sort of thing. So we're going to get some clarification on that. And then we can determine who's going to be the point person in that regard. But again, as the state veterinarian, I generally have authority over these matters.
Okay, so by next meeting, then you'll have more information.
Yes,
it sounds like.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much.
Commissioner French Contreras.
Do we have any more information on the suggestion about the committee that was brought up to bring these vets and whatnot into from the students to bring them in? It was discussed last month. There was discussion about starting a committee with the other veterinarian. Her name escapes me now. I don't have my notes in front of me.
Dr. Holland.
Thank you. Yes. So do we have anything else on that?
Again, she's agreed to lead the project, and so making contact with the schools is
Okay.
going to be the next step. And again, we're going to be, after the Super Bowl on Sunday, we'll be doing racing Saturdays, Sundays, and then Monday through Wednesday, which I think provides an opportunity for students who may be in school during the week to get this experience. So again, I would hope that in the next few weeks, we actually get some students out here and get this program up and running.
Great. Great. Thank you.
Mr. Weiss?
Yes. Good morning, everybody. This is Mike Weiss. I just wanted to make a quick comment on Stride Safe. I know that we do have that meeting coming up, but this is a beta test. This was a test that was done at Belmont Park with 6,600 horses. Their next step is Churchill Downs. We are utilizing this and working with them so that they can do the 5/8 mile track and the quarter horses, which is the first for them. Literally, we're looking at the results with our steward, and if somebody does come up red, we're not putting them on any vet's list, but we're being more cautious. We are requesting that the trainer have their vet look at it, and we will make sure before this horse runs, our vet takes an extra step to look at it. We're not stopping any entry. So if that's a short synopsis of this, I'm very excited about this. And I have myself, Haley Schiffer, who's working as my assistant, and another 20 students really involved. So it's fantastic. Thank you.
It's great. Appreciate it, sir. Look forward to hearing more about that, Dr. Gale, once you have a little bit more information. Mr. Dunn, could you have updates for us?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to start with Rito. Opening weekend, as Dr. Gale said, went very well. There was no incidents. Rito did have a rock picker come out and go over the track second week of January prior to them getting that surface ready. Rain did hamper it a little bit. As we remember, we did get a little bit of rain. It needs to be dry for that equipment to work. So it delayed it a few days, but they did get it done. They did get quite a few rocks off the track, which again, I think is really going to help throughout the entire meet for safety. Been in contact with not only Mr. Weiss, but Vic Oliver, the track man out there taking care of the track, as he has in the past. They added about 15 tons of sand prior to the opening. The only incident that really came up, which was they did have a water truck go down, and before the end of the day, they had another one that they had rented immediately, and then the very next day, they also had one come in from Arizona down. So Rito's doing very good. Everything down there is going real good. If there's no questions, I'll go on to turf. All right, so turf. Safety steward Carlos Partida and myself were at Turf Paradise during the renovations. I was there Friday. He was there on Saturday, the 21st. We did talk to the track expert, Steve Woods. He was in charge of getting all the equipment and crews together for the operation. They started working on the track on right after the races on Thursday, the 19th. They ended up finishing Sunday, the 22nd. Everybody knows Turf did cancel their races for that Saturday, the 21st, to ensure there was enough time given to remove or renovate the track surface. I did put in your packet some pictures, and as you can see in there, they used a lot of equipment, a lot of big equipment to make sure it was getting done in a timely manner. They did use a grader that was equipped with sonar laser to get the banking. It was approximately 3.5 degrees in the stretches and 5.5 in the turns. They approximately removed 6 inches of dirt from the main track surface. All dirt on the inside and outside rails, as Mr. Francia said, was readjusted to equal the height all the way around. There were some spots in the faux chutes that they found were low. They did take some of the material and add to the chutes It also is going to help with drainage in the chute area as well. They did add back approximately 1 inch of sand and about a ½ inch of organics. Some of the dirt that was removed from the main track was also repurposed and put back on the bridle path. They also did put some of it in front of the O-barns to fill some holes, and some of it was added for height and better drainage on the training surface as well. One of the pictures that I did send shows the skid steer removing the dirt from underneath the inside rail, which is going to help also for drainage on the main track. There was an outside portion of the main track rail on the backside that was damaged and completely taken out by a harrow on Monday as they were preparing the track. Temporary railing was attached, but it will be replaced tomorrow since there is going to be no racing, no training. I will be out there tomorrow to make sure that that is complete. And Mr. Perdita did also ask Mr. Woods about the harrows. He stated that 2 of the harrows are in good condition, while the other 2, I think he stated last time, are serviceable. They're usable. So, and that's all I have.
Appreciate it, sir. Any questions or comments from my commissioners?
I just wanted to comment that I appreciate Mr. Duncan's insight on this, and I hope he will continue to see his feedback moving forward at future meetings.
Couldn't agree more. This is a big priority for the commission, Mr. Duncan. The work that you're doing out there, and as always, Dr. Gale, I'm looping you into that. We appreciate the feedback, and it is extremely important to us. Do we have a track safety report, director, or someone from the department? Did I say track safety? I meant budget report.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have a budget report for you. We have hired a new CFO. That person will not start until March 20th. So from that point forward, we should have someone to present budget reports for you.
Got it. In the meantime, if something does pop up, please send that to the commission internally.
Absolutely.
Drop down to the IHIA, Mr. Guessman. Do you have any updates for us? Otherwise, looking forward to the Permittee Report for American Greyhound Racing. Perfect. Arizona Downs.
This is Tom Author, Chairman Coolidge and commissioners. Not really much to report other than that, everybody, there's rumors everywhere. We've got a lot of exciting things planned. And hopefully within the next few weeks, we can bring everybody up to speed, but we're very encouraged about the interest we've had on the continuation up there. So not much to report other than that, but stand by. Hopefully we'll have some big news here for too long.
Look forward to hearing it.
Thank you.
County Fairs. Mr. Weiss, Burrito.
Hi, everyone. This is Haley Schiffer. I am Mike Weiss's assistant general manager.
Haley, glad to have you.
I'm the recent graduate of the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program. This year, Rito celebrates its 80th year of racing, and opening weekend was fantastic. We had strong import and export numbers, large crowds, and very exciting races. We had a sold-out clubhouse, a packed grandstand, and fans were very happy to be back at the track and are looking forward to the rest of the meet. Our equine wellness program is going strong with the help of our vets and vet assistants, who are students from the University of Arizona majoring in racetrack industry, equine, and veterinary sciences. And this is just a small example of the many students we do have working here at Rito. As Mike Weiss mentioned earlier, we are using these StrideSafe sensors, which are placed under the saddle towels of all the horses, both on quarters and thoroughbreds. Based on the reports, we are very impressed with the results, and we are working with Dan Fick and the vets on protocols for horses that do come up with red lights. The response from the jockeys and trainers was that the track surface was exceptional. We are going to keep improving and working with the surface. Our trackman Vic Oliver will soon be adding wood chips as we did at Arizona Downs that will help with the integrity and moisture content of the surface. We do look forward to the weeks to come and want to invite any commission member or anyone listening to please come out and help celebrate Rito's 80th year with us. Thank you.
Fantastic report, Haley. Wouldn't expect anything less from a U of A grad. Bear down. Turf Paradise.
Yes, this is Jerry Sims. Before Mr. Mayor gives a full report, I just want to tell you about some exciting things we're doing. We have another big event this Saturday, T-shirt giveaway. You'll see a lot of advertising on television and other media. Family Fun Park will be open with all the bouncies and so on. So it should be an exciting day. We've also been marketing to the people that are here for the golf tournament and for the Super Bowl. So and I understand from the track that we're seeing a lot of people out there that are out for these events and making time to come to the track. A lot of new people, I'm told. So, Mr. Mayor, if you go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Sims. I just wanted to leave the chairman and the commission with this positive note. As everyone knows, safety is important to all the racetracks in the state. And as we speak, Security Director Daniel Adams is on his way to California to purchase an ambulance for the riders. About 10 days ago, we had an incident on the track, and there was some confusion out there, which the result of which we were not happy with. But the real result was it spooked our riders. And for that reason, Mr. Sims authorized the purchase of an ambulance. So we not only have a chase vehicle, the SUV, but we have we're going to have an ambulance. In fact, we have an ambulance now, but this one is being purchased by the racetrack, so we have one permanently. Thank you, commissioners.
Thanks for the update. Dropping down to the optional industry stakeholder association updates, Arizona Counties Racing Association. Arizona Quarter Horse Racing Association. Arizona Thoroughbreds Association. The HBPA. Normally they have an update, so I'm going to say it again, the HBPA. And I apologize on the last packet that was omitted, and I think it was just an oversight, so I apologize for that. Jockeys Guild.
Morning, Chairman Coolidge and members of the board. This is Daryl Hare, Western Regional Manager, the Jockeys Guild. I just want to say that I appreciate Mike Weiss, the job he's doing at Relito in working with the riders and making things safe there and promoting racing like he is with the student. So my hat goes off to Mike Weiss. It's concerning Turf Paradise. I'm glad Brian Duncan is going to be out there tomorrow in observing the repairing of the outside fence. Also, if Brian, while he's out there, could check out the chute in the inside rail, because it's been an ongoing problem with repairing the inside fence. So hopefully that'll be taken care of by tomorrow also. And appreciate Turf Paradise getting an ambulance. So that's always a good thing that we have an ambulance following the field. So thank you, members of the board.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Drop down to commission reports. Any of my commissioners have anything they'd like to add on future agendas? Mr. Estrada? assuming that was a blip, or do you have something?
Oh, I'm sorry, I muted it. Yes, sir, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, I just want to inform you guys that we will be hosting the ORI, which is the Organization of Racing Investigators here in Arizona. So far we have 75 plus participants, and these are including people from around the world. It's all related to racing investigations. We have Ireland, South Africa, Canada, and others, which is slated to be a pretty good program that we got going here. We got topics such as money laundering, regulatory oversight, case studies, practical searches, ethics and racing, human trafficking, licensing verification, identity, and other topics. So I just want to make sure that I let you guys know that we will be hosting that in Tucson, Arizona. It'll be a program of 3 days, and we're looking forward to hosting everyone there.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Estrada, when did you say that is happening?
This is scheduled for February 26th to March 1st.
Thank you.
Just pop up, maybe not. All right, we'll drop down to call to the public. I only have one scheduled, so if someone else needs to speak, please raise your hand. But otherwise, Mr. Nolan, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Chair and fellow commissioners. I personally want to thank the Commission for addressing B3, the items that are scheduled to be of concern here at Turf Paradise. I don't think they sugarcoated it quite a bit. I don't think it's quite as hunky-dory as they say. I do want to make sure that the Commission is aware of another resource that is available to them. There is a IHIA steward here daily interested in the safety of Turf Paradise and does make daily safety reports to his organization. Those might be an added resource to see and help clarify some of these issues. One, I'll just bring one because there's not much time. As they were talking about the bridle paths and how come cars run over it. Well, the reason the cars run over it on the straightaway is because there are just way too many potholes in the paved surface. They get off the paved surface and ride on the dirt because it's smoother than where the smooth surface is supposed to be. It's been an ongoing battle to try to get this place repaved, but that's just one of the concerns. I wanted you to be aware of the other resource that I hope does come forward. There's still some questions with IHIA and its jurisdiction in Arizona. Are we under injunctive relief, or are we to be following it like California and New York and other places? I'm not sure of that answer. We hope to have IHIA find a solution so that we aren't left in limbo in states like us. I don't want to go into other things too much. I am very happy that this item B3 was on here. And I think there is further clarification of a lot more issues out here. Some are raised, there's awareness, that's wonderful. The whole goal here is awareness in order for us to try to get change that protects the racing participants being equine and human. And those are my concerns. Again, I thank you for this time and appreciate the work the Commission is willing to try to listen and do. It's important. We need to move forward. And I thank you for the time.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We'll drop down to announcements. One thing that I'll be saying on my end is the governor has appointed a new director to the Department of Racing. I know I can speak on behalf of myself that we're very excited to be working with Miss Jackie Johnson. Not sure if she is on the call today, but look forward to having her in a future commission meeting. She has, sorry, I got feedback there. She's got a big hill to climb as far as getting everything together, but look forward to working hand in hand with her. Otherwise, the next regularly scheduled commission meeting will be at 10 a.m. on Thursday, March 9th. Commissioner York, do you have something?
Yes, I'm sorry. Did you say Department of Gaming or Racing?
Racing.
Okay.
It's the same department. Thursday, March 9th, 2022. And you just drop that out of my view. All right, next regular scheduled commission meeting will be at 10 a.m. on Thursday, March 9th, 2023, likely via Google Meet and subject to change based on a quorum. Otherwise, I will move for adjournment.
Yay. Yeah, I love that. What cartoon is that from? Yay.
I'll second.
Thank you. With the
Madam Secretary, I think we lost you.
sorry, with a motion by Chair Coolidge and the second by, and I didn't catch who the second was.
French
Frank
Contreras.
Contreras.
Okay, by French Commissioner Contreras. I will call the roll. Chair Coolidge,
Yes.
Vice Chair Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner French Contreras,
Yes.
Commissioner York.
Yes.
Thank you. The time is 11:31 a.m. and this meeting has adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Everyone can exit the meeting now.